Good afternoon, everybody. How many of you guys are into superheroes?
No one now.
Well, even if you don't like superheroes, I'm sure you've seen pictures of them in action. Of
But they're
like
not real.
Superman, like saving citizens from like other worlds. The Avengers, exactly. These
Well,
are from
in movies.
These are from movies.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the Avengers saving New York City from invasion led by Loki.
It's actually a pretend.
But this is what the idea of superheroes is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like certain individuals gaining a certain power and using them for the benefit of the people. In the fantasy world for children, this all works out because the only bad things in those worlds are the villains themselves. And the only objective in those worlds is the villain being defeated by the superheroes. Nothing else matters. But what happens if this happened in real life? If they actually existed, what type of damage would they do to our society?
Well, what kind of damage would the villain do?
That's what my main point is. I will explain that later. So, and right now, this is my topic, Revelation. I plan to persuade you into believing that superheroes would do more damage than they would benefit society. It's important to know this because, as you know, technology is getting more advanced and it's an exponential growth. So, as we get more advanced, companies, high-tech companies, will want to try new things. And what if one of those companies decides to experiment with our genes and try to mutate them? Like, example X, but that's the difference. That's the difference. Like, and mutating genes, and they try to play it off as like they'll help society and use these movies and like superhero comics as examples on how they will benefit society. But in reality, they will do more damage. The main points that I will be talking about today on why they will do more damage is because they will lead to more amount of destruction in cities or even the world. They will influence villains. They will influence villains more than kids wanting to become better. And there's a possibility that they will become corrupted over time. Let's start with the destruction of these superheroes towards cities and overall the planet. My first point comes from Superman in the movie The Man of Steel, produced and directed by Zack Snyder. In that movie, Superman is like brand new. He barely came to Earth from Krypton, and he plans on using his powers for the benefit of the people. And then comes General Zod. That is the main villain of the movie, and that villain is the one that destroyed his own planet. But the main problem here is that once they fight, they end up destroying skyscrapers and buildings from Metropolis. And in those buildings, there's still a lot of people, and a lot of children, and just citizens. And these citizens were injured because of the fight Superman and General Zod had. This fight led to massive amounts of destruction, which I guess, which was shown in the movie. And this isn't like the only instance. In this movie, isn't the only time where we see a city getting destroyed. In the movie Avengers, Age of Ultron, we see Tony Stark creating an artificial intelligence machine, basically, Ultron. And Ultron decides he wants to destroy the world using a meteor. But this meteor, he wants it to be a part of Earth. He wants it to be a city, and this city was called Novigrad. And he eventually does lift this entire city up from Earth into the air, while its citizens were still on top of it. Eventually, the citizens did get evacuated by the Avengers, but Ultron was able to drop this part of Earth into Earth, and in the end, the city was completely destroyed, and it again led to massive amounts of destruction. This is my first point in which why superheroes would actually do more damage to society than benefit. Now that we talked about that, let's go into how they could actually influence more villains to emerge than go away. Um, Again, using Superman as an example, but a different movie. Superman, the new one, produced by James Gunn. In this movie, we see Lex Luthor is the main antagonist, and Lex Luthor is like Superman's number one hater. Like, he just hates him completely because Superman always gets in the way of his business affairs. And Lex Luthor isn't like a good businessman. Like, he's corrupted, and that's why he doesn't like Superman too, because he's like the opposite. And Lex Luthor wants to stop Superman, obviously. So he creates machines, monsters, literally anything he can in order to stop Superman and kill him. He does this because he was influenced by Superman. Because he wants to stop Superman. Like, that's why he created these monsters and machines. And if it wasn't for Superman, yeah, Lex Luthor would have still been like a big person in the business world and like evil. But it wouldn't have led to monsters and machines being created in order to stop Superman. Another example of this like yin and yang scenario is Batman and Joker. In the movie The Dark Knight, produced by Christopher Nolan, we see that this new villain called the Joker comes into the movie and destroys Gotham and like kills a lot of citizens. He only does this in order to mess with Batman. Because Batman, I don't know if you guys know, has this one rule where he doesn't kill. And Joker wants to push him to his limits on that rule. Just to mess with him because Joker is insane. And in the end he wreaks havoc in Gotham, kills a bunch of citizens because of that. And these two are examples of how superheroes could actually lead up to emerging villains and cause even more destruction on our society. Now that we covered these topics were about superheroes doing good for society and them genuinely wanting to do good for society. But what if they like didn't care about that? What if instead they actually cared about money, fame, and women as examples? This means that they would actually be corrupt instead of wanting to do good for people. This is actually shown in a show. I don't know if you guys have seen it, The Boys. Yeah, they barely had like a series finale, so like it's popular. And this show is all about like superheroes and corruption. This big company God is like the main superhero hub where they hire heroes and have them work for them, but it's like all contract companies. So in the contract, it's all like how much money they'll be getting paid and how much, like, for example, how many citizens they have to save per day, like a quota to. And these heroes, obviously they're lazy and they think they're better than like regular people. So they just meet their quota and call it a day. They don't care if other people, more people are getting paid. As long as they meet their quota, they're getting paid and they're still fulfilling their contract. That's the whole point of The Boys, and where they have to like destroy like that company. And it was just like something building too. But this is just an example of how the superheroes could act if they were corrupt. They wouldn't care for that, and they would also believe that they're above everybody else. Like, because this big company would protect them over anything. Like they would be allowed to like have parties that include drugs and violence and just anything that a regular person wouldn't be able to do because they're superheroes and they believe that they're better than everybody else. But getting over these topics, I hope to have persuaded you guys to believing that superheroes are more dangerous to society than beneficial. Again, they can lead to massive amounts of destruction the upcoming more dangerous villains that can cause destruction themselves, and have the possibility of becoming corrupt. So let's hope the government isn't planning on giving humans superpowers now that we've gone through what can actually happen if they were a reality.